Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you new here, my name is Donna, and for those of you not new, thank you so much for continuing to come back and support my channel. I appreciate all of you so very much. Today I am doing my Project Pan follow-up. I'm not sure which number update this is. I believe it is number 5, maybe number 6. I can't remember because there is a month in there that I didn't do an update. There wasn't enough to update you on. So, however, this is still Project Pan update number whatever it is. So, as you guys know, I am doing a rolling Project Pan this year. It started with 11 products, and the plan was, as I finished up a project or got to goal on product, I was going to roll another product in its place, and it didn't matter. It's not like a full face project. It's just what I am looking to get out of my collection. And honestly, right now it's been mostly about what is in my collection that is almost gone, that I do use, but I forget to use sometimes. So I really just need to get on that bandwagon. I did have some products in this Project Pan that were going to be super simple for me to finish off, and some that were not. And I did have some products last update that I decided to keep in the project even though I had hit goal on them. So the new goal is to finish it up, right? So we're going to start with what I have been able to finish in this Project Pan, because I am so stoked about the items that I have been able to finish in this Project Pan. Minus the 2 that we'll talk about today, because I want those to be a surprise. So first and foremost, Bare Minerals Photon was in my initial group of items. It is gone. It is no longer in my collection. It started out at 0.8 ounces and ended at 0.8 ounces, but it was a very empty container. I even pulled apart the apparatus that it sat in and made sure I got all the product out of that little container. Those containers are not the easiest contraptions to deal with, so I'm absolutely stoked that it is out of my Project Pan, and it just wasn't a bronzer that I pulled for anymore. I am not super into loose products these days. When I first started wearing makeup, you know, occasionally many moons ago, I did like Bare Minerals. Was one of my favorite products, one of my go-tos, because makeup just sat beautifully on my skin. I think as I aged, that got different, because way back when I was using it occasionally, I was in my 20s, and in my late 30s and early 40s, I am realizing that it just doesn't sit super great on my skin anymore to use a powder foundation, a powder blush, a powder bronzer, powder. It just doesn't work all the time to use those loose powders. So I also emptied a Juice Beauty Anti-Wrinkle Serum. It started at 4.2 ounces and ended at 3.6 as an empty product. That had 1 ounce of product in it, and I had barely used it, so that seems about right. 4.2 ounces to 3.6 ounces. So was really super excited to get that out of my collection, mostly because I really am not a fan of Juice Beauty. I had a Big Sexy Hair Powder Play Light that I used, and I did like. It was 1.6 ounces at start, 1.4 ounces at empty. I had a Bare Minerals Serum Foundation at 1.9 ounces when we started, 1.7 ounces when I threw it away. It is the only product in this Project Pan so far that went bad, and I had to toss it before I could finish it up. But it had been a foundation in my collection for quite some time. I think roughly about a year. I didn't start wearing foundation until early 2019, so I think it was actually maybe a year and a half, because it was one of the foundations that I would wear. It was prior to actually getting into foundation, because it was really lightweight, felt really good on my skin, and I could see my skin through it, so it was kind of like that sheer coverage almost. I think that had been in my collection for quite some time. We all know product goes bad. I don't think that had much product left in it, honestly, but it did go bad, and I had to toss it versus finishing it up. Then we had the Charlotte Tilbury Airless Flawless Finishing Powder, which I absolutely loved, and finishing this product up was super bittersweet for me. We didn't weigh it when we started it. I was showing you pictures of, you know, the pan as it grew. It did end up empty at 1.8 ounces, but it was a completely empty container. So know, moving forward, that those containers weigh about 2 ounces in and of themselves. I had a Kat Von D contour palette, the Shade and Light palette that I had torn apart, and because it was almost gone, it was mostly panned, and then the two contours that I used then at that time, I Franken contoured and made one contour, and I was able to finish that up. It started in a new pan at 1 ounce, ended at 1 ounce, but it was a completely gone pan of contour. We also finished the Dermalogica Skin Clearing Serum, which, if you remember correctly, was just a little tiny, like, sample size vial of it. I knew that that was going to be a real quick turnaround on that one, honestly. And it wasn't necessarily my favorite product from Dermalogica. Mostly I don't have a skin clearing need, so there's that. But it was a really tacky serum, and I didn't like it very much. And we also have finished another hair product, the Numa New Moisture Instant Fix Revitalizing Instant Fix Protectant. That was a really nice hair product, and it was one that I said that I would purchase full size if I needed to. So let's get into what we have left in this project pan. These guys started this project pan. They're part of the original 11 in the series, and they are these. These are really hard to weigh. They only weigh in at 1 ounce, each one of them. The two big guys weigh in at 0.3 and 0.2 ounces, and they've been that way since the beginning, but we can see I have used quite a bit of these products. So what I'm going to do future forward from today on is take a picture of them. I will try and get a screenshot of what they looked like at the very beginning of this project pan, and then I took a picture today that I will put on the screen here so that you guys can see it. Okay, so these guys did start the project pan with me. This is Ofra Winter Rose. It is a blush, and I have used it 100,000 times, and it doesn't even look like I've touched it. That might be a little bit of an over-exaggeration. This is Ofra Rodeo Drive. This is put into this project pan because I have this in 2 singles like this, and I also have it in 2 different palettes by them. So I figured let's get rid of one of them, and that is the one I've put in. Again, I've used it so much, and it's showing signs of wear, but it's not showing signs of wear. And then we have the 3 different eyeshadows here. We have this one here. All 3 of these are ColourPop. This is Cute Alert, this is Ringer, and this is Locked and Loaded. I do use this one quite often to set my primer on my eyelid. I have been multitasking this as a highlight. It is a beautiful highlight. It's also a beautiful shadow. It's a really pretty shimmer. And then this one, which is a really nice crease color or deepening color. This one, the idea was to pan this guy, to empty it entirely. It was already panned, and I will be truthful, this pan has not grown a whole lot since we started this project. These 2 did not have any pan, and the goal was to hit pan on them. Obviously, I've hit pan on them, but they are the 2 items that I decided had hit goal, but I was going to keep them in through the end of the year. So that is what those look like up close. You guys can see there's quite a bit of pan, especially in that middle color, that Ringer, because I have been multitasking it. So I'm really excited about the amount of work that I have been able to get on these guys. But I will be honest, that blush and highlight is really frustrating me because I use them so much, and there's nothing. Like, these 2 items here are really kind of actually pissing me off because they show not much wear, and I know that I use them all the time. Some newer items to this project pan, obviously ones that didn't start with the project, were these. I have this MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in Stereo Rose. This is such an old blush in my collection. It's one of the first items I put into my collection when I decided that this whole YouTube thing was a thing for me, and that was like 3 years ago. I didn't start posting videos until August, but I started collecting stuff in May. So it's actually been, you know, 3 years almost exactly. This is what the blush looks like right now. Again, I am going to put pictures in for this as well. We can see the pan in this, but it might be harder to see the growth of the pan unless I start putting pictures in, which I haven't been doing. It started at 1.9 ounces in this project pan. It's still at 1.9 ounces, but I have used this about 4 more times since the last update, so I know that there's more use in it. The next one is this. It is the Hourglass Diffuse Light. This is an ambient lighting powder by Hourglass. I would say that if you're going to get the Hourglass powders, this is probably honestly your best bet. They cost the same amount as a regular size powder almost. I want to say this guy was $24, maybe even $30 for this little sample size. Powders last forever. I mean, let's be honest, powders last forever. So you don't really need that giant full-size dude for $46 when you can get a sample size. Granted, I don't think it's economically savvy, but I do think that the amount of powder that you get in here is still going to last you quite some time. I have been using this since I purchased it, and I purchased it last year around this time, and it's a year later and it doesn't even look like it's been used. So this is another item that I will be taking pictures of. It weighed 0.9 ounces last time we did this when I rolled it in, and it weighs 0.9 ounces now. So I really feel like that's probably the container. So I'm going to be taking pictures of that as well so that we can kind of gauge the usage based on the picture. All right, another thing I rolled in last time was this. It is the Juice Beauty Green Apple Brightening Gel Cleanser. You guys, I rolled this in because, again, I don't like Juice Beauty. So it was just sitting here. I have many other cleansers that I want to use first, but I also don't want to waste stuff. So, and this had already been opened. I think my daughter used it once. So I needed to get it out of my collection, off of my vanity, off of my table. So I did open it up or not open it up, it was already used. I did take it into the bathroom and start using it on a regular basis. When I wash my face, this is what I'm using for my second cleanse. And I would say it's right here. It did start almost full, so I think it started roughly right here is where I see the crimp from us bending it last time. Go ahead and put a little dot there too, so you guys can see the usage from the last 4 weeks. I have to be honest, I'm not cleaning my face that often because I'm not wearing makeup that often these days, and my skincare routine has gone to shit through this whole isolation thing. And that is why the lack of usage. I think once I get more into a routine of wearing makeup on a daily, it won't take me long to get through this. But for now, this is where we're sitting. And it did have 2.5 ounces when I brought it into this project pan, and it currently has 2.2 ounces. So that does show the use that I have been able to accomplish with it. This guy I haven't used at all, and it is the Sol de Janeiro hand cream. I don't know why I haven't used it, except for that I'm not going out and about. I had plans on putting this in my purse. I just haven't done that yet. It rang in at 2.1 ounces. When I put it into this project, it still rings in at 2.1 ounces. And you guys can see the line there of where it was, where I was able to bend it when we first started, and that's the same place. I haven't used it at all since the last update, which is frustrating to me. I need to remember to use this. So I'm going to put it front and center on my makeup wall over here so that I remember to use it even if I'm not going out and about. So the last 2 products I want to talk about, I actually emptied, and I am so excited about them. And these will be the 9th and 10th product that I have been able to finish up in my collection from the beginning of this year. So I'm even more stoked about that piece, I think. So first things first, let's talk about this. This is the Too Faced Hangover RX Primer. This is a primer that's been in my collection for a while, and I know that this stuff goes bad really quickly. So I wanted to get it out of my collection as soon as possible, and when we started, we did have this much. Last update, we had this much, and now it is gone. I'm no longer able to get anything out of it, so it just spit just a little tiny bit. Do you guys see that? We're calling it done because I did try and take off the cap and I couldn't get the cap off of it. I am one of those people who really likes to use the whole of my product, but you guys can see it is empty, so I'm really excited about that. Finish this bad boy. This is the Tarte Found Sealer. You guys can see, hopefully, that this is the kind of foundation that has the pump in it, and as you pump foundation out of it, like it moves up into the thing, and you can't, there's a little tiny bit right there that just came out, but otherwise there's nothing. I can get nothing out of it, and that's definitely not enough for even a contour or a conceal moment. So this is completely gone, and I am ecstatic. This was not my favorite foundation at all, which shocks me because I really wanted this so bad, and I could see me loving this so bad prior to me ever using it. I would say my problem with it the most is that I'm not really a person that powders my face, and I felt like this moved around so much unless I had a powder on the top of it, and powder just makes it feel heavy on my face, and I don't like for a heavy foundation on my face. I'm not really a full coverage girl. I'm more of a like sheer or medium buildable kind of girl, unless the full coverage foundation really doesn't feel like full coverage foundation. And this was really a medium buildable foundation that felt like full coverage, and when I had to put powder over the top of it, it really felt like full coverage. It's just not my favorite foundation from Tarte. I would say my favorite foundation from Tarte is the Amazonian Clay. I did try that in my sample series and was really surprised by it because it's made for oily girls. I'm not an oily girl, even though I look really oily right now because it's hot as balls in this room. It just looks so beautiful on my skin, and that shocked me. This not made for oily girls, but it doesn't look great on my skin. So not my favorite. So glad that I was able to finish it up. You guys, this was a chore. I just made it a point to use it every single time I filmed. That way I knew I was getting a good amount of usage out of it, and it was going to a good cause. So, and I wasn't using it in a fashion that I felt like I was wasting it. All right, you guys, 2 empties out, so we're bringing 2 things in. I know that this looks like the same thing. It isn't. I have one of these. It is the It Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye in the shade Light. But this is the Bye Bye Under Eye Concealer that I have. It is in a pot. This is one of my favorite under eye like brighteners, under eye concealers. This guy weighed in at 0.7 ounces to begin with. And I really think that if I put it on top of my vanity and think about it, I will use it. This is, funny story, this is also a product that I use all over my face when I'm going for a no makeup look, because it does exactly what I need it to do by taking out the discoloration or the inconsistencies in the coloring of my skin all over my skin and not just under my eyes. So I love using this on days that I'm really not trying to do much with makeup, but want my skin to look better. So I don't think it'll be hard for me to use this. The one I do think it'll be hard for me to use, this also rang in at 0.7 ounces, so I think it's got to do with the container and not the product inside, is this one. In this container, I did put contour. And this is the contour off of, if you guys remember, I had a Smashbox foundation and contour stick that I hated, but I kind of liked the contour. So once I got done with that foundation, I finished it. I do believe it was in a project last year. Once I got done with that foundation, I did put the contour in this pot because obviously this I think this one that I currently have in use is probably my 5th one. But I then went and purchased a Hula stick contour and I love that. So I haven't used this as much. So I really just want, the Hula stick is fairly new in my collection. So I really just want to get this out of my collection. The other problem I have with this is I have to dig into it with a brush, and I hate that. I hate getting this product on my brush. So that's the other reason why I don't use it so much. But we're gonna start using it. So I will also insert a picture of those 2 items that start in the next update so that we can see that as well. I really don't think the weight is going to come into play with those either. So that is my update for my project pan of 2020. Again, it is a rolling project pan. It's not a full face rolling project pan. I gave you all the logistics to how I make my choices and why I choose the items that I choose when I'm thinking about rolling something into my project pan. I think it's smart the way I'm going about it because I'm getting rid of older product or product that I do use all the time or product that I just have way too much of. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that if you did, that you're considering giving it a big thumbs up. Really does help our channels out here. I also hope that you liked me or you liked this video enough that you're considering subscribing to my channel. I would really love to have you along for the ride and in my crazy YouTube fam here. See you down in the comments section. I have been sucking sand lately and haven't been really on top of my comments as usual, but I do answer or comment on every single one of my comment sections, so I do look forward to seeing you guys down there. I hope that you're having an amazing day. I hope that you're having an amazing month. Please be safe, wear masks, social distance, go into the stores if you're able to, and you know, do what you need to do to stay sane, or don't go into the stores if you're not able to. I know that this nation is kind of rolling out opens a little bit at a time and in a strategic way that I think is super smart. So I hope that you guys are also being super smart about it. I know that you are because you're super smart people. But thank you guys so much for joining me today. And until next time, bye guys.